Hi, I'm Mike Coyle, and you're watching Inside Exploration. Today I'm here with Adrian Smith of ArcPacific Resources, which is listed on the TSX venture under ACP. Adrian, thanks for joining me today.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Man, I am super excited about the Rickard Gold project, and we'll get right into that, but I want you to kind of give everybody an overview of ArcPacific and some of the projects that you have going on before we get there.
Sure, yeah. So ArcPacific is a junior mining company listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, the venture, under the ticker symbol ACP. We've got three main projects that we're working on right now. The first being the Rickard Gold project in Ontario. It's Archean greenstone quartz carbonate hosted vein gold system. And yeah, we're going on the phase one of that. It's our kind of main project that we're working on right now. And you know, we've got a lot of exciting news coming out on it, and I recommend anyone to go check out our website and see some of the content and some of the stuff we're drilling. So that's number one. Number two is the Lucky Mike Silver Lode project in BC. That's a bit of a different angle or a different commodity. It's more of a copper gold focus, but it's got a really good silver component to it as well. There's about 5 historic past producing silver lead zinc mines on the property, part of a quite a widespread, up to 7-kilometer footprint, wide footprint of skarn mineralization. And what we're really interested in and focused on is what could be driving that system. We think that there could be a copper gold porphyry kind of centered in there. There's a lot of smoke, there's a lot of good indications, a lot of really positive signs that there is a system there that's just not been tapped into. So we're excited to get working on that. And then the third project that we have is the Blackdome project, also located in BC, in southern BC, and it's the most greenfield early stage project that we have. It's never been trenched, it's never been drilled. It's really at a true discovery stage. So we're excited to get working on that as well. That one's actually a low sulfidation epithermal gold silver project. So it's got some nice gold values at surface in the soils and some rock samples that were grab samples, and we're excited to get back on that one as well.
So Rickard Gold, let's talk about this project. You did a lot of work before you actually stepped foot on the property. You did a lot of data compilation, some LiDAR. Talk to us about the work that you put in prior to getting there and starting your drilling campaign.
Sure, yeah, the Rickard was a really unique project. It originally was originally discovered in 1917, and they basically put it into production in 1918 without doing any exploration or resource definition. In that era of history, they essentially just started mining, driving a shaft down on the veins and drifting along them to start mining it. There was a lot of really high-grade gold at the surface there, so we have a good indication from the historic records that there is gold in this shear zone system that we're getting into. And so we put a lot of effort into actually compiling all of that data into a modernized 3D database that we could utilize. And really, like an important component that we did was adding a LiDAR survey to the data so that we could pinpoint the exact location of the shaft down to centimeters and use that as a point to base our model from. We were able to also identify some historic trenches that were done up to 100 years ago from the LiDAR data, and it was amazing how well those trenches identified in the LiDAR matched the trenches hand drawn on some of these historic maps and records that we were inputting into the system. So we really pulled as much information as we could from the various sources in the government database and the historic database kept on file on that project, and we were able to get a good idea of where to start. And it's really helped us get into this pretty impressive vein system that we're seeing now.
Yeah, it sure is. I just came back from going on your site, and I absolutely love the cores. Last time we seen cores like that, I was in Western Australia. Not to say that the grades are going to be comparable, because the truth is in the ground, we don't know. Beta Hunt had some pretty impressive grades, but I mean, these look awful similar. So I'm really excited about the program. Talk to us about the program. What are you seeing mineralization wise? How thick, how wide, and what kind of a strike length are you talking about right now?
So we're just starting kind of a slow and steady. We're drilling into the system just proximal and underneath the historic mine workings, and then we're stepping out on 15 to 30 meter sections from that, and we're really trying to identify some potential high-grade gold shoots that they might have been chasing. See if if we can confirm the grades, if we can and if we can follow that system and figure out the geometry, and it it could be just the I hate to be cliche, but the tip of the iceberg. It could lead to something much larger that that no one's ever known or found before. So all the indications that we're seeing so far are that the shear zone is part of an actual regional scale shear zone. The veins that we're seeing are, they're several meters wide. There's multiple sets of parallel veins that are associated and created within the shear zone. I mean, we knew that there was these veins that we didn't know how big they were. It turns out like most of the veins are bigger than we thought they would be. The historic records are so poor and so limited that there's no accurate description of any of this stuff other than that, hey, there was gold here. So we're taking that and we're building from it. And we're really impressed with what we're seeing so far. We're seeing a lot of sulfide mineralization associated to a lot of smoky, possible telluride minerals that could be carrying or hosting gold. Again, we'll have to see what the assays say, but the initial visual indications look really positive. So we're planning 15 to 17 holes as an initial phase 1 program, and it looks like we should be able to reach that within the budget. I mean, it's really amazing how well and how cost effective we are able to do this program, and it really comes down to the location. The location is so perfect, being half an hour off of a major paved highway, within an hour of the town of Timmins, which is a major mining hub for Canada as a whole. I mean, you're talking like 80 million ounces historically produced from that region. It's probably up above that now. I mean, that's a pretty historic number. So it's just a great area to be in. It's great to be part of that mining community that's there, and it's really exciting to be able to go in and do this drilling program on such a tight budget. So yeah, we should be coming in with hopefully a few extra holes, and yeah, it's looking really good so far.
So maybe talk to us about the geology of the area, because this is technically along the Abitibi Greenstone Belt, but it sits on the Pipestone Shear. How does that compare to what you see in Timmins to the south?
Well, yeah, obviously it's not on the main shear zone that exists in Timmins, but we are on a sub-parallel shear structure that appears to be a splay off of the pipe, or well, so ours is the North Pipestone Break, and that's a splay off of the main shear that goes through Timmins. And what it looks like is we're actually at a major curvature on that shear right in kind of the central area of the property. So we were able to go out and stake a massive land package to cover basically a large section of this shear, and focusing on the area where there is a deflection or a curvature where it looks like it kind of curves to the north. And that could be a really good or control on the mineralization itself. Creating a ton of dilation. We're seeing a ton of intrusives coming in at all different phases. Obviously, we haven't age dated any of them yet, but we're seeing just that continuous time of emplacement that's gradually ongoing. It's part of caught up in the shearing. It's been ductily sheared, and then all through to intrusive phases that are not sheared. So a huge time period of intrusions, a huge time period of veining. We've seen multiple, I guess, generations of veins coming through. Evident by the cross-cutting relationships. Some of these veins are ductilely sheared. Some of them are brittly sheared, and then there's all the way to fairly fresh, more recent veins. So it's so important when you're looking at the location to search for minerals like gold, that you have these long-lived systems, because the longer lived that system, the more potential you have for one of those phases to be a gold bearing phase that's carrying some of these precious metals that we're all chasing here. So it's it's the perfect environment, and yeah, it's really exciting. And we're finding out a lot of this information for the first time. There's not a lot of work that's been done in this area historically.
And why is that? I mean, it stopped production in the 1940s, but my understanding is the particular claim that the Rickard Gold project sits on, that was landlocked for a period of time, was it not?
Yeah, the actual claim that we're doing the most of the work on was made up of a few patents, and those patents were held and eventually expired. We're not exactly sure the reason. I think it's one of those things where people pass on, and there was no one in that family that was maintaining it, and it was staked by a few prospectors back in, I think, 2014. When there wasn't a lot of excitement or activity going on in the market, especially for precious metals, and we were able to get it and do a deal with these guys and a couple local prospectors that were part of a little staking rush that went on, because it is a historic gold mine, and there was some very impressive samples that came from it historically. But the region as a whole, I think, didn't see a lot of work because there's a thick layer of till or of clay that covers the majority of the area. So there's not a lot of bedrock exposure, and it's a certain medium that makes it really hard to explore through. So we're very fortuitous that we have something to start with. We have a starting point, and we can then continue to expand out underneath the cover as opposed to just searching blind through cover.
All right, well, thanks for the Rickard Gold update. I can't wait for the assays. Well, maybe one more thing, assays. Do you have a projected timeline you'd like to kind of throw out there, or we'll just wait and see?
Yeah, I mean, it should be 1 to 2 months for the first few samples. The guys are working hard in the core shack to get the samples processed, logged, cut, and sampled, and have those samples sent off to the lab itself. So once they land in the lab, we're looking at 1 to 2 months turnaround as a current kind of general timeline for the assay labs this year. And yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Are you doing multi-element analysis, or are you just going straight for gold?
No, we're doing a full 36 element multi-element analysis, and then we're also doing the fire assay for gold. So it's really important to us to see what the alteration is, what some of those associated minerals are. I mean, we're looking at a system where it could potentially host tellurides, which is something that's not that common, but it's very prevalent in the Kirkland Lake district, and we're actually just north of the Kirkland Lake district. So we're in very similar geology, same age rocks, similar structures, cross-cutting this thing. So we have an inkling that there could be some tellurides here as well.
Right on. Okay, Lucky Mike, really want to talk about this project. It's interesting. It's gone through a lot of hands in the history of its existence, but you think that there might be some opportunity here for something bigger. Talk to us about the project.
Yeah, the Lucky Mike is one of those projects that's been around for a long time and seen a ton of work. So again, like what I like to do with these projects, to have all this information available, is to utilize that information. I mean, that's essentially tens of millions of dollars of work over the past 60, 70 years that's been done in our favor on the project that we hold, that we control, and we can utilize that information. So we've gone and we've done something similar to what we've done on the Rickard project. We've focused a lot of our effort into compiling that data so that we can use it in a meaningful way. I would hate for our shareholders to waste their money to go out and do some exploration work that's already been done. I want to use that information and build from it. And so what that information has been telling us is that there's a massive skarn system on this property. So over 7 kilometers is mapped, in multiple programs, including in the government records. It's this massive skarn zone. So it's very, very impressive skarn system present on the property. And one of the key indicators of a skarn system is it's usually driven by a central porphyry system. So we have a lot of other good indications that this system does have a central copper, gold, potentially alkalic copper system associated to it. So what we're really going to focus on is identifying that. If that is there, I mean, that's going to be huge. I mean, we're adjoining the largest copper mine in Canada, is literally right next door. There's a couple other companies that have had recent success. That just to the south of us, there's the Kodiak Copper, so it's in a very good copper district, and there's it shows you that even within the last few years, there's been new discoveries utilizing this historic information and going back on some of these prospects. So we're very excited about the Lucky Mike as well, and we're looking to get something going on that later this year.
Okay, that was my question. So what is the exploration plan for Lucky Mike for 2021?
Yeah, so earlier, I guess late last year, early this year, we kind of finished our data compilation. Based on that, I had a couple independent contractors, consultants look at the data, review it, as well as our own team. More heads is better than one. Had a lot of opinions come in, and based on all of that, we've put together 10 drill hole targets that we want to go and test. And that's currently going through the permitting process in BC. So we expect to have that back sometime in the middle of this year, and hopefully later in the year we can put that program into place.
Excellent. All right, Blackdome. This is a project that was only discovered in 2008, but it's got some really impressive soil grids on it. You want to talk to us about that project a little bit?
Yeah, the Blackdome is, like I mentioned previously, the earliest kind of greenest project that we have in our portfolio, but it's also an extremely interesting property. What really attracted me to it was the widespread soils that were highly anomalous in gold, and also the chip and grab sampling from surface. This project is in a great location. It's the foothills of the Coast Mountains on the interior side, so it's not super high relief. It's kind of subdued topography, and it doesn't have a ton of cover. So we're basically seeing subcrop mineralization with nice quartz carbonate veining as part of a low sulfidation epithermal system. And those samples are running with gold grades up to 50 grams per ton. And it's never seen any real mechanical work. It's seen, I think, 2 phases of soil sampling, and then maybe 1 quick prospecting trip for doing some grab samples, and it's never even had trenching on it or anything. So it's extremely easy target for us to go and generate some good results where we know there should be good results. And it's going to be a project that could be very easy to advance to a drilling stage within a year.
So do you plan on doing any groundwork this year on the project?
Yeah, we've budgeted a small program to go and do some initial chip sampling, potentially channel sampling and trenching on the project to help us get to that drilling phase.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us about your projects, Adrian. I appreciate it. But I am going to catch up with you again after you put out some results from Rickard Gold, because I definitely think people are going to want to talk about that or hear about it when it comes.
Yeah, I know the Rickard Gold project keeps surprising us in every drill hole. So it's definitely turning into something that's above and beyond what we expected. So we're extremely excited about that.
As am I. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.